The Zifferan Empire stretched across 17 star systems, a testament to their technological supremacy and ruthless efficiency. Their capital world, Nexara Prime, housed the Grand Menagerie, a colossal biodome where they displayed the rarest specimens from conquered worlds. And now, after 3 centuries of war, they had captured the final prize, a human. Farah stood behind the reinforced crystalline barrier, his calloused hands pressed against the cool surface. The purple-skinned Zifferans gathered daily in their thousands, their compound eyes gleaming with curiosity as they observed him like some exotic insect. Children pressed their faces against the barrier, pointing at his strange 5-fingered hands, his unusual bipedal stance, his soft skin devoid of scales or chitin. The last of his kind. The automated announcement echoed through the chamber in 17 different languages. Humanity extinct. This specimen, designated Human 7, represents the final survivor of a species that dared challenge the Empire. Farad had stopped listening to the narration weeks ago. Instead, he spent his days studying his prison, learning the patterns of the guards and, most importantly, observing the creature in the adjacent enclosure, the Vortex. The Zifferans called it their sacred beast, a creature of legend they had discovered in a dying star system and brought back as proof of their dominion over the cosmos. It was massive, easily 15 feet tall when it reared on its hind legs, with obsidian scales that seemed to absorb light itself. Its eyes glowed like molten gold, and when it moved, reality seemed to ripple around it. The Zifferans whispered that it was a child of the cosmic void, a creature that existed partially outside normal spacetime. The Vortex was alone, just like Farah. While crowds cheered at Farah's enclosure, they maintained a respectful, fearful distance from the sacred beast. Only a Sil, the young Zifferan xenobiologist assigned to monitor both specimens, dared approach either cage regularly. She was different from the others. Her scientific curiosity overrode her species' inherent sense of superiority. She would sit for hours taking notes on her holographic datapad, studying Farah with an intensity that made him uncomfortable, yet strangely hopeful. "You understand me, don't you?" she asked one evening, her translator rendering her clicking speech into standard galactic. "The others think you're just an animal, but I've seen intelligence in your eyes." Farah met her gaze but didn't respond. He'd learned that silence sometimes revealed more than words. That night, when the menagerie lights dimmed to simulate night cycles, Farah did what he'd been doing for weeks. He pressed his hand against the barrier separating his cage from the Vortex's enclosure and hummed softly, a old earth lullaby his mother had sung to him as a child. Before the invasion, before everything burned, the Vortex, which had been coiled in the corner like a living shadow, lifted its massive head, those golden eyes fixed on Farah, and for the first time since its capture, the creature moved toward another being without aggression. It approached the barrier, its scales shifting through colors that shouldn't exist in normal space. Then it did something extraordinary. It began to hum back, matching Farah's frequency with a deep resonant tone that made the very air vibrate. Farah smiled. "That's right, friend. We're the same, aren't we? Prisoners, the last of our kinds. Lonely." Over the following weeks, their nightly ritual continued. Farah would hum and the Vortex would respond. Gradually, patterns emerged, a language without words, a communication based on pure emotion and resonance. Farah began to understand that the Vortex wasn't just intelligent, it was ancient, powerful, and deeply sad. Asil noticed the change. "Impossible," she muttered, watching her monitors one night. "The sacred beast has been unresponsive to all stimuli for months. But with you..." She began staying later, documenting everything. Her scientific excitement warred with something else, a growing discomfort with what her people had done. She'd read the classified files about humanity's last stand, how they'd fought not for conquest but for survival, how they'd been systematically exterminated for daring to resist. "They told us humans were monsters," she said quietly one night, standing before Farah's cage. "But I've watched you. You're gentle. You're patient. You've been trying to comfort that creature, haven't you? To give it friendship." Farah finally spoke, his voice rough from disuse. "We're both exhibits in your empire's trophy case. Why wouldn't I try to give it comfort? It's what we do. It's what makes us human." Asil's chromatic skin patterns shifted, a sign of deep emotional distress in her species. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for what we've done." The next morning, the menagerie erupted in chaos. The Vortex, for the first time since its imprisonment, became active. It paced its enclosure, its scales burning with otherworldly light. The crowd scattered as reality itself seemed to fracture around the creature. "It's going to breach containment," the head curator screamed. "Activate the neural suppressors." But when the suppressors fired, devices designed to pacify even the most dangerous specimens, the Vortex didn't slow. Instead, it turned those golden eyes toward Farah's cage and roared, a sound that existed across multiple dimensions simultaneously. Farah understood. The creature was asking a question. "Are you ready?" He pressed both hands against the barrier and hummed their song loud and clear. "Yes, friend. I'm ready." The Vortex struck the barrier between them with impossible force. The crystalline wall designed to withstand nuclear blasts shattered like glass. Then it turned toward Farah's enclosure and did the same. In the pandemonium that followed, as guards scrambled and alarms shrieked, the Vortex lowered its massive head toward Farah. For a moment, the entire menagerie held its breath, certain they were about to witness the last human's death. Instead, the creature made a sound like purring thunder and gently nuzzled Farah's hand. Asil stepped forward, her career and possibly her life in ruins, but her decision made. She deactivated her security clearance chip and tossed it aside. "The transport bay is 3 levels down. There's a ship I've been preparing. It's not much, but it's fueled and has coordinates to the frontier territories." Farah stared at her. "Why would you help us?" "Because I've learned more about intelligence and compassion from watching you these past months than from a lifetime of my people's teachings." She gestured toward the exit. "Go, both of you. And when you reach the frontier, tell them what you've seen here. Tell them the Zephyron Empire cages the beautiful and destroys the unique. Tell them we've become the monsters." As Farah climbed onto the Vortex's back, the creature's scales rippling to support him, he looked back at Asil one final time. "Thank you. And for what it's worth, not all of any species are monsters. We all have the choice to be better." The Vortex moved like liquid shadow, phasing through walls when needed, corporeal enough to crush obstacles when required. They reached the transport bay in minutes, leaving a trail of unconscious guards and shattered defenses. As the ship launched into the starlit void, Farah watched Nexara Prime shrink behind them. Beside him, the Vortex settled into the cargo bay, its presence making the very hull of the ship hum with strange energies. "They thought they could cage the last human for display," Farah said softly. "Setting coordinates for the frontier worlds, where rumors spoke of resistance movements and free colonies. They forgot that humanity's greatest strength was never our weapons or our ships. It was our ability to find connection in isolation, to offer friendship in darkness, to bridge the gap between different souls." The Vortex rumbled its agreement, and Farah smiled. He wasn't the last human anymore. He was the first human of a new era, one who would carry the message that cages could be broken, that monsters could choose compassion, and that even in the Empire's darkest hour, hope could be found in the most unexpected places. Behind them, Asil faced the Council's wrath, but she faced it with clear eyes, knowing she'd helped write the beginning of a story that would echo through the stars. The tale of the last human who befriended the sacred beast, and in doing so, planted the first seeds of the Empire's eventual fall.